Well, I'm in the workshop again, as you can see. Still got the odd eye problem. I'm still waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear from the eye department in the hospital. I am down as a, she said, priority case because I'm down to one eye at the moment. No pain in my left eye, just difficult to open the eyelid. It's just become swollen for some reason. I had a gold weight implant in there a number of years ago. I've noticed, looking back on old videos, that I can see over the years it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point now where I can barely open the eye, and it's, as a result, the eye's become a bit weak, and I've become quite happy to go through life with the left eye closed, which isn't a good thing, because there's that old saying, if you don't use it you lose it, sort of thing. So I think as time has gone on, I've kind of got used to life with one eye, to be honest with you. And I finished off a batch of knives. I finished grinding a batch of knives rather, and I thought I was going to have problems with the eye being closed up like it is, but to my surprise, I'm really happy with the way the grinds on these knives have come out. So it hasn't really hindered me in my ability to produce good work, although I think it has slowed me down a little bit. But this is about a little tip I want to share with you. When you're working on your knives and you've got them up to a certain level, after heat treat, you know, they're full of scale, and they haven't had the bevels ground on them, they haven't had the tangs tapered, etc. So you can kind of be a little bit rough with the knives. You can put them down on a surface, you know, any surface. It can be a dusty, dirty old surface. You can put it down, and the knives, it doesn't matter if they get scratched up at this point, because they're going to be finished to a much higher standard further on in the build. The problem is that when you've got a workshop, especially a small workshop like I've got, and you've got grinders and dust floating around, this dust inevitably finds its way onto the surfaces, onto the level surfaces, and it's dust that's not only from metal particles, but it's dust from the belts, the abrasive belts, and it's basically grit, abrasive grit in the dust. So when you're hand finishing your knives, the last thing you want to do is to put the knife onto a surface before you move on to the next stage, because the chances are it will pick up scratches onto the knife flats and the bevels. And I've actually experienced this a number of times, and I'd often think, well, how the hell did that scratch get there? You know, I was really sort of careful to get all the scratches out, and then suddenly I took a knife and I've looked at it after I finished it, and I thought, bloody hell, there's a scratch in the flats there, and that wasn't there when I was building the knife. And it's simply because I put the knife down onto one of the work surfaces, and it's picked up some scratches from the abrasive grit that's just floating around and lying around everywhere. It doesn't matter how much cleaning or tidying you do in the workshop. I've got dust extractors, I've got air scrubbers, you know, the dust just gets everywhere. It's just a matter of life. It's a fact of life when you're a knife maker. So what I wanted to show you is how I eliminate putting the scratches on the blades, and it's just simply how you handle the knives in between each process, where you place them to avoid them coming into contact with this abrasive dust. Well, over here, what I do when I finished a process, I move the knives from one set of hangers to another. On this occasion they just happen to be on a door, which is very handy because there's free space behind, so the blades don't contact. Like if I had them on a wall, hanging on a wall with nails on the wall, they would just rest against this surface here. Now, as you can see, this surface has got dust on it, so they're going to pick up scratches even from that, but now they won't. And the good thing about this, with the nails positioned where they are, even for my smaller knives, you can see the hand rubbed part of the blade here is just hanging free, so it's not going to be contacted by any abrasive grit once the hand sanding process is underway. This is the other area where I hang my knives, and you can see I've put a simple piece of 1/4 inch ply just underneath the nails, so that just simply means that when the knives are hanging, again, they don't touch the wall, keeps them away, stops any chance of any abrasive grit getting onto that back surface. You know, even if a bit of grit gets on there, and then you end up putting that into your jig or whatever, then you got that grit doing its magic, which is of course you don't want. So that simple piece of plywood there stops all that. So that's a little thing that I do to eliminate scratches on the blade flats now, which were a real bane for me, I think. There they are. So I'll do the next process, which is to take them up to the next, find the grit on the hand rubbing, and then I'll move them from there over to the other hooks with the piece of strip behind them, and that way they're coming out a lot cleaner, I'm glad to say. Of course, when someone gets a knife and they start using it, they're going to put scratches into the flats anyway, but as the maker, I think it's my duty to really strive to get the best finish that I can. I also think the dusty nature of the job has probably contributed to the old eye problem over the years. I think it's dust is a real bad thing, you know, and I don't know, with knife making you're really exposed to a lot of nasty things, chemicals, glues, acetone, abrasive dust particles, wood that is carcinogenic, poisonous woods, resins for curing the wood, etc. There's a lot of stuff, so PPE is really important, you know, and other PPE as well, obviously ear defenders for looking after your ears, goggles for looking after your eyes. The problem with me, I think over the years, because my eye irritates a fair bit sometimes, is that I get an itch or something going on in my eye, and then I just tend to take my glasses off, give it a rub, and it's just transferred a lot of that dust and crap into my eye or onto my eyelid, you know, which has probably helped to contribute to the condition that I'm now suffering with the bloody thing. But anyway, I am hoping to go in to hospital anytime. I'm waiting to hear from them at any time. I rang them up a couple of days ago and they said we'll be in touch with you as soon as possible, but you are a priority case. So you've got to bear in mind what's been happening in the world recently with the COVID, and there's a lot of people that have probably needed medical assistance much more of a priority than myself. So let's get things into perspective there. That's probably the reason why you've got to wait a little bit these days. But yeah, I'm hoping to get it sorted. I'm hoping what they'll do is I'm hoping they'll remove the gold weight, because this was all started years and years ago when I realised I was going deaf in my left ear. It turned out that I had this type of tumour called an acoustic neuroma, and I was absolutely fine until they done the surgery to remove it, and then that's when things went a bit south, and I was totally I had a total left facial paralysis after the surgery, and they said to preserve the eye we need to do something which will help you to close the eyelid. So I got to be thankful that it probably did save my eyesight in that eye, but now all these years later I've actually got some movement back in my left part of my face again, so this is a great positive. And it might mean that when they look at me they might decide to take the gold weight out, and it could be a life changer again for the better. So let's hope that'll be the case. Anyway, yeah, I'll let you know as soon as anything happens. No doubt, knowing me, I'll put something up on the YouTube about it, and you'll be able to see. But it hasn't curtailed my knife making. It has hindered it somewhat, and there's days when I really haven't felt like coming in and doing much. I must admit that has happened, but I think I kind of crossed a hurdle today, because I've done some really fantastic grinding, and I was a bit concerned that I wouldn't be able to do so well with just the one eye, but I have kind of proved to myself that it hasn't really been a problem for me. So anyway, that's about it from here. Hope those few little tips have helped. It's the little things now for me to make the progress in a forward direction. In the early days of knife making, you make fantastic big strides. You know, you learn how to profile grind. You learn how to heat treat. You learn how to get the basics right. But then taking it to the next level, it's the smaller things that add up to make the finished product a better, more refined product. And it's those small things now that I'm working on. Simple little thing like a piece of wood behind the pegs so that it keeps the knife blades hanging in free air, or hanging them on a cupboard like that, you know, and then being very careful not to lay them onto flat surfaces where you could have pieces of grit. Okay, I think that's about it. I hope that's been a help to somebody. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.